Blind Spot, episode 12, Harmonic. Really enjoyed this episode. Next week we have our season finale, and I think this was a good episode leading up to it. I was very curious how it was going to go. I'm like, alright, things seem to be working out. They're going through the paces. It's like, alright, at first things hadn't changed. It's like, we got, all this information and stuff. And it's like, something's different. It doesn't make sense. Why didn't things change? And it was interesting as things went on. And then, we have our ending sequence, and it's like, okay, Raimy's mom did come back. So I was like, alright, things seem to be working out, but we know we have another episode, so that's like, something else is going on here. Like, there has to be another layer to this weird little mystery. And then we get the ending scene where Megan, through the whole episode, we have a big surprise that Megan's brother was never actually dead. Like, he actually did run off. Like, her dad did kill her mom, but the Deacon never actually killed her brother like she thought. Like, he actually did take off. So we find out that he's alive because of the new timeline. That's why he was there at the cabin. And so we go through this whole episode. He changed his identity. Things seem to be working out fine. Frank ends up reuniting Megan and Robbie, and everything seems great. It's like, all right, this seems good. They're together. The Deacon is actually arrested, not just for the money, but because of the body and all that stuff. They get everything they need to put him away. And it works out. And it's like, this is good. And I knew something had to happen because I'm like, this isn't the last episode. There's going to be another episode. Something bad has to happen here. And at first, I figured it had to be Robbie. I was like, maybe, I was thinking like maybe it was a copycat killer. That was the very first thing I thought. And I was like, no, that would be kind of a crazy thing to just throw in, in the final episode. It wouldn't have much of a connection. It would still work because it's, such a famous killing or a famous killer. That type of stuff does happen in real life. They would have to find, like a copycat Nightingale killer within the last episode, that sort of thing. And then as it went on, I'm like, oh, something's about to happen with her brother, because they have the sequence where they're on the phone and stuff. At first, I thought something crazy was going to happen. I'm like, I don't know. It didn't make any sense, but I'm like, I feel like the Deacon might somehow have escaped and he's going to kill Robbie, because I'm like, I don't know. I think he might die or something. I thought he was going to get hit by the train in the early sequence. I'm like, man, that really blows. Like, he ends up getting killed off or something. So it turns out that would have been okay, but it goes through and he's folding up the clothes. It was almost like he was in the military, and that's what I thought they were going to show, like something different where, he's like, oh, I just took off or whatever, but maybe there's something to it is what I was thinking. Like, he's folding all the clothes up, everything's nice and neat and very psychotic like, and then he pulls the little string and turns the light on, and all these freaking pictures, and then we discover really in the promo for the season finale that he's the one who killed all these women, or at least I would assume all of them, after their mother, like who the Deacon killed. He basically twisted his son, and then he was the one that killed all of these women during that time. And it was just crazy. I was like, wow, I can't believe that that's how they're playing it, but a great way to do it for sure. And then we have the way they're doing like the split timeline thing with the Deacon, I thought was very well done in this episode, where he gets busted in Raimy's timeline in the present, and he actually kills himself. Like, he gives up the evidence, and because he finally feels the guilt for everything that he's done, Raimy is able to get the information that she needs while helping him commit suicide, and because she kind of taunts him with dying in prison and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty cool the way they did it, where they show him in the past and the present, and in the present he's suffering everything, and he ends up killing himself. And then in the past, the way they do it is he's like, I'm caught, like it's over, like it's all said and done, I'm about to get caught here. And I love that. I thought it was really well done. And he goes and he gets the box, and at first I was worried. I was like, man, that's gonna hide the evidence, because that was the big thing. And the way time works is it's just very weird in this show, so you never know how things are going to operate or what will or will not be affected. So when he grabbed the box, I was like, oh, that's it, that's going to change it. And then he ends up going to the restaurant, and he's just sitting down, and at first it was fine, because I'm like, oh crap, he's wiping all the evidence away, he's wiping his fingerprints off, which he still did, because like Satch even mentions, like, with the body being in the woods, it's like, that's just a random body in the woods. Anybody could have done that. It's like, you have to, it's admissible, but it's so hard to, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, it might be him, it might not be him. So that's how it was, although he gave himself up. I mean, when he's the one cleaning off all this stuff, it makes it seem like, yeah, it's definitely you. But like I said, with the promo, we find out the reason he was wiping all those fingerprints off was actually because it was his son. And it starts to make sense during the scene where he kills himself in the present. It starts to make a lot more sense towards the end of the episode, specifically with that scene from the promo. It makes all those sequences make a lot more sense. Whereas, like, he, even when he was younger, and his kids were like teenagers or whatever, he knew that it was his son that killed those women, and for whatever reason, he also kept like those weird mementos and stuff like that. It didn't make a lot of sense why he would keep that, but I don't know. He was crazy to begin with. He killed their mom, and then he's like, "Oh, it's you have to do this to send her soul to heaven and stuff." So, I mean, he was crazy. His son gets crazy because of him. It kind of all fits. Like, just crazy does crazy stuff. I don't know why he keep the box, but it starts to make a lot of sense why he's, wiping off the fingerprints and stuff. And, he turns himself in to actually save his son. And now we just have to see what happens in this season finale. I mean, I would assume that they're going to end up stopping Robbie. I don't know if they'll kill him or if he's just going to make it or what the deal is. But it's very interesting. And it makes a lot of sense because with the picture stuff that was happening, I was wondering if they would kind of bring this up in the episode. And there was the sequence where Frank fights the Nightingale killer. And so he gets knocked out, and the Nightingale killer takes the picture, and it's, that picture of Raimy, as well as her mother. I believe it was both of them, or it may have just been Raimy in that picture. But I was like, it's crazy. It makes a lot of sense that would happen, But I thought during the sequence when Frank mentioned, like, hey, I had you in my trunk and everything, I was like, I'm surprised it didn't come up. Like, the part where he's like, yeah, I beat you up and I let you live, or something like that. I was very surprised he didn't mention that. And now it makes a ton of sense, because I'm like, if if you ran into this guy and you beat him up and stuff and you stole the picture and everything, there was not even a look, not even in, the deacon's face, was there anything that said, like, oh, I remember you now, like, you're the guy that I let you go, or something like that. There's none of that there. And I was like, that's very interesting that he doesn't seem to have any reaction to, this was the guy that beat me up and put me in his trunk, but this is also the guy that I beat up and I took that picture of his daughter, weeks ago or whatever. So it makes a lot more sense now, because that was never the deacon. Like, he never had that interaction with Frank. That was actually his son, and that's why his son was the one who started watching. I want to say Jules. I swear I can never remember Ramy's mother's name, like, at all, but I want to say it's Jules or Julie. But I thought that was good. I thought it was a great twist ending. You started to see it coming, like, at the very end of it, and I'm like, well, something. Obviously it's not the season finale, so something has to be happening. But I love the way this one played out. I thought it was a great episode leading up to the season finale. Of course, Ramy's mom is back. They think everything's fine, but of course, in the promo, she's like, I'm still seeing ghosts from the past, so there's something else, going on here. But her mother's safe. Like, so the way everything played out, seemingly he doesn't end up killing her mother, at least based off of the current timeline. So now it's up to Frank and Raimy to figure out why she's still seeing ghosts from this other timeline. So I'm excited for how this is going to play out. I don't know. Like I said, I looked up information. I know I said it very often, but I finally looked it up after I watched this last episode as to whether or not the show is going to be renewed. Still no news on it, so I'm hoping that this next episode, isn't the series finale. I do hope it's just the season finale, because I really enjoy the show. But I did see an article that said this show, as well as the other new show, No Tomorrow, they'll both have, like, definitive closure, even if they don't end up getting renewed. So that's always good. Like, even if a show gets canceled after the first season, as long as there's some sort of closure, it's like, okay, we can at least be happy with that. So I'm excited to know that whether it's canceled, it doesn't end up getting renewed for season 2 or what, we still are going to have a nice definitive ending for this season. So I like to hear that. That's always good news, to not have a cliffhanger ending. I'm sure there'll be, like, a minor cliffhanger. I think one of the big cliffhangers was actually introduced in this episode with Moreno, after they all find the body. He's like, this is bigger than you and me. And Satch is like, I think that was him burying the hatchet. Maybe it was, maybe there's something else that Frank will end up doing to piss him off in the future. But he gets in his car, which I thought was also it was TV, but it was just like he has this big file on Frank. It's just, his name is just like Frank Sullivan right across, and he just picks it up and puts it in the glove compartment. And I was like, okay, so he has something there. We don't know what the heck that's supposed to be. I think that's something that was meant to be like a little hint, like, hey, here's something for season 2, and they might touch on it a little bit in the season finale, but I feel like that's what that was. It was like, okay, he's got some crazy evidence, to the point where he's got the yellow envelope to put in his car, so there's something there, but he kind of put it on the back burner for now. I was like, alright, you aren't coming after me, you aren't trying to do anything crazy. I'll let this go so we can catch like this actual serial killer. No big deal. So there's something to that, and I thought that was pretty cool, but hopefully they get to expand on it with the season 2. But either way, I really enjoyed this episode. I think it was really well done. Very excited to see what they do with this season finale, and just the way everything's going to play out. Like, we now know the truth behind this very specific murder. We know who the Nightingale killer is. They still don't know. Like, I mean, dang, the whole season we finally think they got the guy, and it's like, nope, it was actually his son the whole time. So they still need to find the actual Nightingale killer. But I would love to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And of course, I want to know what you guys are hoping to see, expecting to see, or just want to see in general for this season finale. I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff to it in this final hour for the season. Hopefully it does get a season 2. I think they did a really good story for only having, such a short amount of episodes and not getting like the extra back end, like going up to 22 episodes. I think they did a great job having a shorter story like this, because I'd be very curious to see how far this story could have gone just for one season and what they would have done to make it work. But that's why you have writers, they make it work with the amount of episodes they're given. So I think they've done a great job so far. Like I said, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this episode and what you're hoping to see, want to see, or expect to see in the season finale. So please comment below, let me know. And of course, thanks for watching.